So grew up in India, been in New Zealand last 23 years, went to university in New Zealand in Waikato, and then there was like hardly any opportunities there. So did lots of odd jobs initially to get established, to get started, everything from farming, which is so not me. Travel around New Zealand, working in different farms, going from one place to another. Not the digital nomad, the original nomad. Moved back into tech because I studied as a software developer back in the days, and then I studied marketing. So I wanted looking for something that combines the two. Built my first startup in e-commerce, which later on got acquired in 2015. There was COO with Charlie, and Charlie was the CEO of Uproar. And there's something you can put it out there in like absolutely no time. And that's what my book was about. It's like the 30-day startup, which sold tens of thousands of copies on Amazon just organically.
Well, welcome back. First recording didn't have audio, so we thought we'd do it again. And we've hopefully improved since the first time you were our first pilot guest.
The guinea pig.
Yeah, you're the guinea pig, so thank you for
I had
being
so
our
much
guinea
fun.
pig.
Yeah.
And you get to be the guinea pig again, I guess. But hopefully this time it will go out into the world. And yeah, we changed the format a little bit, but ultimately it's the same thing, just having a chat. So you're Sam Kamani, and you have a really interesting world.
Interesting life.
You do, and I would say it's definitely been designed to suit how you want to operate.
Yes.
So I think that's a pretty cool situation. So it'd be really interesting to kind of to hear what you're doing at the moment. And I know you're doing a lot with the podcasts, but also stuff in the startup world.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'd love to go one step back and share my journey of what I've done or where I've come from and stuff. And so grew up in India, been in New Zealand last 23 years, and went to university in New Zealand in Waikato, and then there was like hardly any opportunities there. So did lots of odd jobs initially to get established, to get started, everything from farming. So I've done all different types of farming, which is so not me. But you did like, and had lots of fun, travel around New Zealand, working in different farms, going from one place to another. Not the digital nomad, the original nomad before the digital nomad thing came around. Did lots of those type of things, and then eventually moved back into tech because I studied as a software developer back in the days, and then I studied marketing. So I wanted looking for something that combines the two, and this is like marketing for tech companies is where I kind of ended up. Built my first startup first company in e-commerce. And in New Zealand, which later on got acquired in 2015, and later on it then sold to Just Water, which is now a publicly listed company in New Zealand. And after that, there was COO with Charlie, and Charlie was the CEO of Uproar. So this was back in the days. We went to San Francisco with that. Spent few months. We did
some pretty big events and videos, you know, the PUBG stuff that we did. When we had all those influencers, UFC fighters, kind of famous YouTubers in a golden chicken tournament where the winners won real golden coins, which is really random.
Oh, it was so much fun though. It was like we didn't that wasn't a very financially rewarding venture, but it was a very lot of fun in that venture. Don't you think? It's like just the whole esports side, because I'm from gaming background, Charlie's from a gaming background. We both have been like gamers all our life, so we had lots of fun in that way.
Well, it was also like extremely popular at the time.
Yes,
you know, we were the 8th most popular platform for gaming and esports in the world.
That's pretty epic.
And we had real good user growth, but you know, the gaming industry was the esports industry especially, but gaming too, was a race to the bottom. It was whoever raised the most money and survived really won. But there were a number of companies that managed to get public even though they had nothing in 2020 and 2021. So it's kind of interesting to think that sometimes
not really they did have a lot more users. They did have a lot more traction.
There's an esports company we shorted in 2021 basically to zero that had no users. They had like less than 50,000 users and no engagement. Now you had Skills. Yes. Skills was number one.
Skills had users.
Skills had loads of developers and loads of users. But they raised 120 million USD. But they ended up $15 billion company. Today they're worth 120 million. So it's kind of interesting to see.
Fascinating shorting opportunity for someone. But then that was 2021. There was just so much money around that company was going.
But lots of people were able to go public. And it's kind of interesting to think about like the different context kind of driving what you feel the outcome is. For example, a company that really never had anything became a $300 million company briefly, whereas we were, by all metrics, a stronger business than them, but never saw any sort of success like that because of
lots of factors.
But
one of the factors is being in the right place at the right time, and a lot of those companies that did go public were all based around Bay Area, a lot of them, where the most liquidity was at that time, even to this day. That's why a lot of the unicorns come from that area, is because they have two things that every business needs, and one is access to market. They have access to the US market, which is massive, and then they have access to capital. That's why so many startups and unicorns are still funded in that part of the world. We don't have those two things in New Zealand, and that's why it's so challenging to grow a company in New Zealand. And there's a third thing, access to network, and that also we don't have in New Zealand. So continuing back to my sort of life story, and and after that did lots of fun things like write books on tech startups, spoke at events and like TEDx type events and around the world, and advise different startups in this space and Web3, fintech, AI side of things. And last 3 years been running a podcast and have been advising different startups. And now I've got, and earlier this year I started investing very, very small amounts as an angel investor in few startups. And now I've got stake in 6 different startups, a very small stake in 6 different startups. And then I help those companies connect with anything that they need, whether it's investors, whether it's help them with growth, connect with partners, or whatever they need. And so that's pretty much what I do, run the podcast and work in the Web3 field. One of my portfolio company is Autowhale, based out of Austria. So been helping them quite a bit with growth. And still travel a lot. Last year I went to 10 different countries, 12 different cities, and this year it will be, seems like, around 15 different countries. So next 2 months I'm traveling to Australia, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, China, Vietnam, and Singapore in the next 2 months for different Web3 conferences. And so that's me in short.
So what was it that kind of started you on your wealth journey? Was there an event, or was it how you were brought up, or?
I don't know. It's just the learning that realizing that there's the financial resource, and then there is a very important resource that a lot of people don't realize in their youth, and that is the resource of time. The financial resource is always has a lot more variable aspect to it. So you can always earn money at any stage, but the time you will be that age with that level of energy and that level of everything, and in your life only once. You'll be like 29 only once, or 39 only once, and you'll be have that level of everything, health and energy and everything only once. So it's like so just realizing that okay, I need to for me the real wealth is living a life that I really want to, and so crafting that career, because what I'm doing, there is no I don't know. No one was guided in school that you could do half the time you could do like run a podcast, and then half the other, like 25% of the time you can go and travel around in the events in the world, and the other 25 you can do angel investing and help some startups with their growth and stuff. No one created that path. I just had to find that for me, what I really enjoyed, and I love the variety. I love meeting people, and then I also matched something with my natural skill set. So even though I studied software development, I didn't go full time into that because I realized I'm a natural extrovert. I like meeting people, so I'm like, okay, what can I do to where I can use the maximize my use of my skills. So that's how I crafted my my journey or my career.
Okay, what do you think your biggest learning was in terms of your own kind of businesses and that kind of thing? Sorry.
Oh, learning. So it's like every business or every experience teaches you different things, and so many, and having done so many different things, as everything gave me different lessons and appreciation of other people's skills as well, about how they achieve things and stuff. So it's like over the years I have just to give an example of equity that I'm now familiar with Charlie and Abhinesh. So I've learned different things from, say, Charlie. I've learned about his big picture thinking and things like that. Whereas at the same time, I learned from Abhinesh on how he can stay on track. He can be really, really focused on what he's achieving. So it's just learning different things from different people. So this is just an example, but there's that would pretty much be like a 3-month long episode, because there's been so many lessons, whether it's on marketing, whether it's on growth, whether it's on public speaking, and so on. So yeah.
So it's that learning mindset, essentially.
Yes, or growth mindset that you can always. So I'm always learning. So even while on my drive here, I was listening to a public speaker. His name is Vin Go or something like that. He's Vietnamese Australian, and he's just just sharing on lots of things to get better at, whether it is public speaking or getting better at negotiating with people or getting better at small talk or things like that. So I'm always learning, as I've seen that is one characteristic that a lot of good entrepreneurs have, or successful entrepreneurs have, that they are always learning new skills. They're always learning, and even though you're good at something, that doesn't mean that that's the point to stop. You can always get better at that. So I still work on my strength, not just on my weaknesses. Even though I love meeting people, I love talking, I'm like, I can still get better at small talk or starting and continuing a conversation. So I was learning just that from him this morning, and it was great. So yeah.
Okay. What was it then enabled you to have the ability to get into angel investing, do you think?
So it is just the path I realize I need to take to achieve what I want to achieve, and my middle term goal, not a very long term goal. Middle term goal is that in 2 to 5 years I want to start a fund. Or maybe in 2 to 3 years, I want to start a venture fund to fund more amazing entrepreneurs like Charlie, like Abhinesh, like lots of other young people that I see who are building amazing products. So in order to do that, I will have to raise my fund, and in order to raise my fund, I will need to show a track record. And to show that track record, I need to make my own investments and show that with my own funds first, that, hey, look, this is the track record I have. This is how I've done in the last 2 to 3 years, and then move on to that part of my life on starting a fund.
How do you choose which companies you're going to invest in?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. So it depends on the stage. What I have seen in the industry is that if you are investing in early stage, or really early stage, like what I do as an angel investor, small ticket, it is pretty much most of the times is the very first or the second round, and at that stage you are investing in the people. You're not investing in the company. because there are no numbers, there is no data. It's only when the company has been running for like 3-4 years in many cases, or if they have done a lot of rounds of funding and they have progressed further to a much more mature stage, then they have the data of like what is the lifetime value of a customer, what is the customer acquisition cost, because that changes as a company grows and product evolves. So then you can look at the data and you do those analysis, but initially it is just you're investing in people, you're investing in founders. So what I do is I build a relationship with the founders. I follow them on their journey of entrepreneurship and see how they're doing, how they're progressing, and then based on that, over time I make that decision. So that's so for some of the things I do look for that, okay, are they resilient, are they going to stick around, or is this is this just one of those things that they're just going to do for a month and then leave it, or for 6 months and leave it. Second thing I do look for is that are they focused, are they doing 5 other things that they will never have enough time to put into their main venture which I'm investing in. Otherwise, they would use my investment to do other things as well. So so those are some of the things, and of course then the other things are like the skill of the entrepreneur, but that, skills can be learned, like knowledge can be learned, that could be hired for, but some of these qualities such as the persistence and focus and those type of things, are they naturally ambitious? So if they are ambitious about their project, I do give extra points for that, because that means that they believe in it, that they are going to stick around with it for longer. So yeah, but it is making a decision at a very human level, and it is like just being in this industry, that so many decisions in this industry are made people to people and who and with the networks, and that's why the startups based in Bay Area in US raise so much more money, is because they have the access to the network. Not because they necessarily have the right data, or as in right numbers, as in their growth figures or whatever it might be. So even if you're raising in a small town in US, you will have an extremely hard time raising money compared to where the investors are. And the other difference I've seen recently is that there are more ecosystems popping up like the Bay Area around the world. So it is getting easier for founders in some other parts of the world to raise as well. So yeah, the playing field is going to level out over time.
So if I have an idea and I want to build it, and what are some of the things that I could do to, before I approach an angel investor, to set myself up in good stead for them to go, yep, I'm going to invest in you?
It depends on the idea. Most tech startup ideas can be built without much money.
Okay.
So that's, you build it pretty much. You build it before you go to the investor.
Or you go and say you're going to build it, and then build it, and then come back and say I've built it.
Yes.
Because that's actually 100%. The main thing.
Yes.
The main thing is progress, right? Like progress, and the resilience piece comes in there in a big way, because you basically do something. I don't know if you may have watched it, the podcast Lex Friedman and Brian from Coinbase. I can't remember his surname.
Yeah, Brian Armstrong,
yeah. And he was saying that pre-product market fit, part of the business, which is where Sam invests predominantly in products that don't have product market fit yet, or kind of are getting closer to it. That's kind of where early stage typically is. The advice he gave to founders in that space is that you just kind of have to keep doing stuff.
Absolutely.
So even if it doesn't work out, it's just you do something to learn something. And pre-product market fit, you can almost do anything, because you don't really know what's going to pan out, and then the investor can assess the things you've tried to do and if they make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to do it. You only learn if you do. You only learn about your product if you release something, if you ship something. You never learn. It's just like you only get the results from physical exercise if you exercise, not if you talk about the exercise. So it's the same thing.
It's the action.
Yeah, it's the action that creates, and the amount of action has a direct consequence on your learning. So one of the things I see is that how fast a founder can ship, because I also in my past life ran an agency where we built MVPs for founders. So founders came to us and we built with MVP, but those founders got no learning at all because they were shipping it out to someone else to build an MVP. So whereas the founders that build and market it themselves get the most learnings. If you pay someone else, so it's like paying someone else to go to gym on your behalf and then expecting results. So so that's why those founders also find it extremely challenging to raise money, is because they haven't gone through the hard, painful lessons of learning. Because building a startup is so easy, right?
Super easy.
Just so it is like chewing glass in a way. So it is extremely challenging, and that's where again once persistence comes in. If you gave up the first time you faced any challenge, the first time something didn't work, then of course you would have nothing. So
there's often an expectation when you do something, and this is the great thing about being a seasoned entrepreneur. Is that you get like less and less expectations over time. So when you first get into the entrepreneurship game and you build something, you automatically think that everyone's going to come and use it. And all of a sudden it's just like everyone's going to be raving about this thing, and 99% of the time no one turns up. So the great learning is just that your expectations get lower, so that then there isn't this emotional kind of volatility of nothing happened. Because a lot of times nothing is happening but something is happening, if that makes sense. That is very true.
But the same thing with the marketing side of things as well. On the growth side of things, when you have to do lots of different experiments to promote your product, and what works you keep that and you throw out the rest of the experiments. So when I did run an e-commerce brand, we would continuously test our marketing. So we would always look for arbitrage opportunities. So it's just like when 2007 online wasn't that big, so we would get ads for very cheap online, and then we'd get extremely good result on that, because there's hardly anyone advertising online at that time in 2007. Less percent of 1% of all commerce was online. 99% was still offline. Whereas by 2015 things were starting to change and online was already super crowded. So then we reduced that and we would advertise at like late night TV at 3 or 4 a.m. where only our target audience was watching those things, and we would get those ads for like $10, like TV ads for $10 and stuff, which used to be $1,000 8 years earlier. So it's just looking for those, but we didn't just stumble on that. We had to try lots of different things and test out lots of different things to find that. So every month we would have a testing budget on finding a new opportunity somewhere to test it. And you get those things if you are running the company, if you are doing it, if you are building the product and you are doing that. And so that's what you see as a early stage angel investor. Is the founder moving, or is it just got an idea and just sitting on that idea to one day get money and then build it? So so it's like that's a very slow way to build anything and do anything. There are so many no-code tools these days, and there's something you can put it out there in like absolutely no time. And that's what my book was about. It's like the 30-day startup, which sold tens of thousands of copies on Amazon just organically. The idea is that you build your MVP or the first product and have it out, people using it within 30 days. If it's taking more than 30 days, it's not an MVP. I mean, now I would say it should be more like a week or 3 days, not even, because you have like so many no-code tools. I wrote that book in 2019 or something like that, or ages ago. Since then, we have come a long way. So yeah.
So it's resilience sounds
Yes.
like it's a key thing for people to have. So how, what have you done to kind of promote resilience within yourself?
Let me think. What have I done? I have experimented a lot and be okay with failing.
So that's it.
So being okay with fail. And you have to. If you're doing marketing for online, for something new, you have to be okay with doing lots of different experiments, and some will do. And so you put like small amounts on that till you find something that really works. And you have to be okay with, as Charlie is saying, that a lot of things won't stick. A lot of new product features you'll build, so many times most people won't even use or won't even care. The only person who cares about the product as much as the product owner or the person building the product, or whose idea it was. So and you just have, you get okay with it. It's just like any muscle. It's like persistence is a muscle you build over time by practicing it, by failing and doing it over and over again.
Okay.
So yeah.
So wealth is a multifaceted idea, right?
Yes.
It's not necessarily just a financial thing.
Yes.
So what does the other part of it look like for you?
So as we are, when we are working or when we are doing things, and we have got hundreds of challenges or hundreds of different problems in life, and but once you have a severe physical disability or a challenge or something comes around, then you have just one problem. You don't have hundreds of problems. Then you don't think about anything like that. If you have if you're going through cancer or chemotherapy or anything anything major, or you have a back injury, or you have a fall from a bike and you injure your spinal cord or something, that's it. You have just one problem. None of the other things, everything fades in comparison. So health is a very big, but I do the same thing, and I sacrifice my health for work because I get so busy, and the first thing to go is exercising and looking after physical health. So yeah, health is a very big part of wealth. Health is your wealth, because the number of that is one way to increase your time wealth. Time is the other wealth, and that's one way you can increase it, because you do get more productive years out of your life and more quality years out of your life. The second thing is time. Is that time is a wealth that people often don't realize, and I've suffered from the same thing, and that's where my coach has helped me, and that is that we consider where we only need to spend our time. So if we are building something for our startup or whatever business, and we think it's free because we just had to spend a little bit of time and do it, but time is not free. Time is like the most expensive thing. So it's like, if you have to hire someone and pay a little bit money, go through that route, because then you are saving on your most valuable resource. And then the third one, when it comes to wealth, is energy, because you might have time, but you only have so many productive hours in a day where you can really think and produce your best work. So
mental energy.
Yes, mental energy.
More so than physical, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for clarifying that, because yes, I was thinking exactly that mental energy, mental and emotional energy, where you produce your most creative work, your best creative work. And doesn't have to be just creative. It could be to do with maths or data or whatever, or programming. So that has to be protected. If other things are taking that mental energy away from you, then you have to find a way to protect that mental wealth as well. So yeah, these are some other facets, but it's like wealth is so multifaceted that that it's a very long conversation around that. It's not just financial wealth. And when you do look after all these other things, the financial wealth also seems to grow over time, or it looks after itself. As long as you don't spend it all. but
lifestyle creep.
Yes, lifestyle creep. But the lifestyle creep happens more when you haven't protected your mental energy. So when you are really tired, it is very easy to go online and shop or buy things to feel happy, because you are not getting fulfillment in many other ways as well, and you're already mentally exhausted, then your willpower is at your lowest. So so looking after all the other things as well helps.
Okay, you mentioned that you've got a coach.
Yes.
So how did you go about finding the right person for you, and how useful have you found having a coach on board?
So I don't have just one coach. I have quite a few different coaches for different parts of my life, because some people are strong in some aspects of their life and so on. So how did I find my coach? I interviewed him for my podcast. So this is before I was running Web3 Podcast. I was running a podcast just interviewing startup founders who have raised money, or investors who invest in startups. So because I just wanted to learn from them, so I started a podcast to learn from them. and then this person that I interviewed, he was coaching founders as well as coaching like larger companies CEOs, like even IBM CEO and many, on how to speak, on how to present your company, and how to raise money pretty much. So I interviewed him because I wanted to learn from him, and then we just became friends, and that's it. So it's a mutual relationship where I also coach him on the growth side of things, and I also coach him on other side of things that he needs help with. And then in return, he coaches me on the public speaking side of things. So I have quite a few people like that, where I have regular catch-ups like once a week, and we go through and we give each other challenges that, okay, this is your goal for next week, or this is, and he challenges me on my weak points, and I challenge him on his weak points as well. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. There is no financial exchange, even though he does it for other people. But because, that's, I think, the best type of a coaching relationship, where the coach also gains something from you, not financial,
Yes.
something intangible, where they get to learn from you as well. So yeah.
Okay. And so you have children and a partner and all
Yes.
that kind of thing, and we were talking earlier how you've kind of created this lifestyle that works for you guys.
Yes.
How does that work with family life?
Yes. So I've been very lucky. So before we got married, my wife was working as a nurse with very long hours and often like late night shifts and things like that. And with kids, it's very hard to make that work. But we've been very fortunate that we don't need two incomes. So I work, and she looks after kids and stuff, and she carries most of the load of the housework, which I'm very, very thankful for.
Yes.
So
We'll make a short for that for her. You can send her a short with that kind of little snippet.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Very grateful as he looks into the camera.
She knows that, and because of her, I can do that. Because of her staying at home, I can go and travel, and like she is on the, like, I'm an extreme extrovert, she's an extreme introvert, so it's like we have optimized our life for our skill set and what we also enjoy. And she's always wanted to be like to be a mother and have kids, and she loves kids. That's why she was a nurse even in like neonatal intensive care, because she loved working with kids and babies and stuff. And so our lives are what we both wanted, so it just has worked out for us. So I mean, of course, everyone has their own unique relationship, and you have to work your own like family dynamics and stuff. And then sometimes I do try and take my family overseas as well, provided there's school holidays. So last school holidays, we went to Dubai, the whole family. So I had a conference there, so I can do that type of thing. So and that way the kids also get some exposure to other places and other countries and stuff like that. So yeah, but it is very expensive flying with 5 people around the world.
Yeah, we've all got 3 children, don't we?
Yes. So that is something I realized that it is only a once a year thing I'd be able to do.
So with your 3 kids, what's your take on intergenerational wealth?
intergenerational wealth. And once again, this is very intangible. If I had the choice of giving them money or giving them mindset, I would give them mindset, because money they can always make it on their own. So the mindset of persistence, the mindset and the understanding that how important building a network is in this world, how important it is to being in the right place at the right time. It's like we have got these opportunities because we were born in the place we were born, and we have the connections and the networks we have. If we were born in a more remote location part of the world, in a developing country, we would have different opportunities, not the same opportunities. So being right place at the right time, as well as build your network from day one, develop social skills, because you will end up working with people are still the decision makers. So I work in the tech industry at the cutting edge of tech, whether it is AI or blockchain or crypto, or lots of different things, or even like quantum computing and stuff. However, the funding decisions for those startups to get funded are made by people who are investing in those people running those startups, and they are all at a human level, not looking at the data and the numbers and stuff. So it is absolutely very, very important to build a network of your people around you and stuff, and learn from that. So I definitely give them that knowledge, and I am trying to teach them that.
Okay, and so you kind of gave us your mid goal in terms of having your own fund and that kind of thing.
Yes.
What's the long-term goal at this point?
Long-term goal is just to be happy and healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, and let and to live the life that I have designed.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do talk about legacy and things like that, but I have over time I have like mixed feelings with that, and the legacy that I do want to leave does not have to be necessarily just in a financial sense, because no one remembers. It's like if you ask that, okay, 50 years ago, who was the 15th richest person in the world? No one remembers. Yeah. Even 50 years ago or 40 years ago, who was the richest person in the world? No one remembers. It's like, or in your city, no one remembers, no one cares. But it's like your the words that you speak, or the writing that you do, or what you teach the world, that makes the world a better place. Those are remembered for a lot more generations than the financial wealth that you leave behind, which always erodes and within 2 generations pretty much. Yeah. Like even talking with some of the like larger family offices like that are in multi-billion dollars, and they all understand that most of the financial wealth will be gone, like 99% of the family offices and that trusts and stuff, within 2 generations it will all be gone. So it is a very, and for most it won't even last 1 generation. Does not matter how big it is. It just so happens that is the most fleeting legacy anyone can leave, is financial wealth. Whereas education or making people's lives better in other ways is a much more lasting legacy. And then the other legacy which we all will leave behind is our kids. That they will continue to shape the world in their own way. So yeah, that's my point of view on legacy.
I totally agree. So if you've got a lot of experience, and so it might be a hard question to answer, but if you were to give some advice to someone who's starting out on their wealth journey, what might that look like? Okay,
the wealth journey, just like, so if you are thinking of starting a startup or building a business, there's 2 things that or 3 things that you will need. First one is access to network. Your people around you will define. The second thing is access to capital, and or second would be access to market. So find out how you're going to get access to that market, and then the third one is how you're going to get access to capital to build whatever product you need or to fulfill and to grow at a much faster rate. So find a pathway for all these 3 things. The second thing is that if you want to just focus on the financial wealth side of things, if you look at the over the 90% of the most successful people financially,
Yes.
they all built their wealth from one thing and one thing alone, and that is owning a business or owning and building a business that solves people's problems, whatever problem that might be. Problem might be of accommodation, they're doing real estate. That doesn't matter what problem it is, or it's a technical problem and they built a SaaS product or whatever product to fulfill that. So solving problems. So the harder the problems you solve, the bigger the reward there is. So solve people's problems and focus on one thing. So even if you diversification is once you have wealth, but before that you need focus. So even if you look at some of the richest people, where did their initial wealth come from? Whether it was Bezos or Bill Gates, all their initial wealth came, or Mark Zuckerberg, came from just one big company that they built and spent all their life, 2-3 decades building that. And so focus creates wealth, diversification preserves wealth. So that would be my just on the financial side of things. So start a business, start a company, start a startup that solves a problem. And to do that, just make sure you have got access to 3 things: networks, capital, and markets. So that would be my advice.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Cool, thanks. It was a pleasure having this conversation.